Namaste, dear ones. I am Mrs. Luv, MD, 1111 Awakening. During this phase in your journey, on the twin flame journey, soulmate journey, whatever you want to really consider it as, if you're in this stage of separating yourself and realizing that you are the key to the union, working according to divine will, and you decided to surrender, you've had this inkling to surrender because you realize in some facet that by you continuing to play out the dynamic that you have played out, whether it being the chaser or the runner, you have been avoiding things that need to be addressed. You have been avoiding really truly loving yourself in order for the union to happen, because truly the union does not really manifest and come into play until you get to a point of loving yourself, realizing that there are things that you need to work on and making that happen. Now, some people tend to not really consider surrendering a major aspect. However, I'm under the perspective that is essential. For some, trusting the self and trusting the divine can play an issue in our ability to truly surrender, or the inability to truly surrender. The origin of this lack of trust almost always lies in any past traumas that we've had, even past life traumas. And these things come into our conscious awareness so that they can be healed. The subconscious trauma has to be released in order to be able to truly trust again and realize that the situations that cause you and your divine complement, your divine masculine, to be in a stage of separation or disagreement, or maybe not even any communication, solely lies in the opportune time for you to heal old wounds and traumas. If you got into a place where you know within yourself that the reunion will happen, you will get back with your divine masculine, right? But you've come to a place in your life where you realize that there's things that you need to truly do to work on yourself. This is an important aspect, and you've reached a stage within your ascension that you have evolved. You've gotten into a higher frequency, because a lot of times when you're in the dynamic of trying to figure out what is it that I can do, or how can I do something differently as far as physically, am I saying something wrong? When you're in that phase, it's operating on the mundane level, right? Just tangible things that may be able to change. Even when you think about the whole level up movement, and it's more so focused on the physical and adorning your outward. In this dynamic, you're dealing with true love. It calls you to delve deeper. And when you get into that present of mind and you are acknowledging that there's things, that attributes and characteristics about myself that I love, that are great, but there's other things on a deeper level that I realized that I was using my relationship in order to pacify those old wounds. This is when your subconscious mind is really coming to the forefront into that conscious state of awareness so that you can work on those things. So during this time, when you really get into a space of surrender, it allows you to really delve deep into those past traumas and basically allow your body to heal them, okay? Allow your mind to heal them, making sure that you have rest and not operate off of a sense of urgency, because all things come to us in divine timing. And especially if you're a divine feminine, you have to realize that your receiving comes with surrendering. Instead of you more so trying to be proactive, trying to do, you need to more so be. be present in body and mind, realize that there's power and there is a gravitational, a magnetic pull when it comes to you being more so in tune with your femininity, opposed to taking on more so of a masculine mindset of what is it that you need to do, when really you need to really be centered in yourself, allow feelings to arise, and realize also that when those feelings arise, it's important to write them down. Jot it down so that you can really clear that mental file and allow yourself to really work through it. Spirit brings things to you when you're ready. And also, when you process the feedback of a lot of the information that you gain from your divine masculine prior to the separation that you both are in. That information is valid because that divine mirror, as spoken about in a previous video, it allows you to see things that maybe others aren't aware of, or maybe others may not be willing to speak on, but your divine counterpart may have brought up things that you need to work on. You need to heal, because although twin flame relationships are forever, you will be back together. But it's important to realize there's aspects of yourself that need to be healed that are not the responsibility of your divine masculine, because you both are on a quest for reaching a destination of completion, a destination of you both being whole individually, so that when you come together, it's more of a complementary relationship and not codependent. So basically, to really interpret this work that needs to be done on a subconscious level is something that you have to really take the time to work through, even if it means thinking back to situations with other people within your family, just your foundational people that you grew up with, things that really may have bothered you, or just different offenses and things that come up. Challenge the triggers so that you can really work through those triggers and heal them. Allow them to process, and then work on the process of letting go. Surrender to the place that you are in your life. And whatever situation you may be in, realize that the divine God, Goddess, will support you during this time. So that means that you need to take time to rest more. You need to take time to meditate, to journal, to spend more time, not only with yourself, but if you have children, definitely spend more time with them. Do what it is that is necessary for you to heal those past wounds, even things that are generational that have been passed down. Take the time to sort through those things. Speak to spirit and ask for directions, and you'll get them. Surrender triggers fear of loss in a myriad of ways, and basically being able to surrender means transcending your fear of loss. So prior, if you were in the dynamic of the runner-chaser and really trying to do whatever was necessary, you thought was necessary in order to make the relationship work, if it fell apart for whatever reason, a lot of times because you were acting out of a sense of fear. When you get to a state of surrender, you no longer fear, because what is for you will be for you in due time, in divine timing. Because whether it is what you don't trust, the divine self, that is a huge problem. So surrendering means that you have gotten to a space where you begin to trust self. You begin to trust the divine, trust God, trust Goddess, in order to allow your life to come into fruition in the way that your heart truly desires. So the biggest problem we face on this journey, honestly, is this surrender phase. But if you made it here, and that lets you know that you are that much closer to getting to the ultimate goal, which is reunion with your divine masculine. So give yourself a hand that you made it this far, because some people don't make it this far. Some people in this space, when there's separation, instead of really dealing with core wounds and really getting in touch with self and healing and releasing, They may substitute it with getting busy with another career, or even entertaining other relationships, which only furthers the separation process or causes more trauma to be healed in the future. So if you got into this space where you realize that, okay, there's no one else, this is my divine partner, this is my divine masculine, and you realize that you've gotten to a space of unconditional love, that you're not caught up in dealing with the feedback that was given, or dealing with the symptoms of the self-pity, or the self-apathy, or any of the triggers that may have come up that caused the separation. When you get to a space of unconditional love, you realize that we all are on a journey to living our best versions in some aspect, in some level. And when you get to a space of realizing that there is a message from the mess that was caused, you're able to really evolve and get on that higher level, because it's a bigger calling for us all. We all have a divine purpose to serve here in this time and space. And so a lot of times with these relationships, things happen, and sometimes really unfortunate things, hurtful things happen, but it's to propel you both to your best versions of yourself. And sometimes for you to get it, something traumatic has to really happen to wake you up and let you see that, okay, these are things that need to be taken care of in order for you to move on to this next level, to serve whatever purpose it is that you serve as the divine feminine, which complements the divine masculine. All right, so also I wanted to add that we all in some aspects have imprisoned ourselves through our own fears and false beliefs. And a lot of times these things are self-inflicted, because we may operate out of a state of fear in a space of lack. When you realize that everything works out for your greatest good, when you look back on your life and you allow yourself to really look back on things that you have overcome, things that you may not even had any inclination that you would get through things, but you were able to get through them through belief, through faith, then you can really go through the process of surrender so that you can gain so much more. When you allow the shadow work to take place, when you allow things that you may have been triggered by within the relationship to really fall to the wayside, you're able to have more of a mature look at life, more of a mature and healthy look at love, so that you can continue to have a beautiful life. Sometimes too, it's important to realize that in order to really enjoy having a beautiful, amazing life, you have to go through certain situations which transform your thought process. And it also gives you that contrast. So when you do have that beautiful, happy life again, you appreciate it that much more, because you know what it feels like to be in a state of codependency, a state of self-loathing, a state of living in a repressed type of life. So letting go of attachments is important, which brings us to the core of surrender. It is not the thing or person that we need to surrender to, but our attachment to it. All right, so first, by going back to the realization that we are our own jailers, in a sense of imprisoning ourselves with false belief and fear. When it comes to relationships, a lot of times you could be having a great relationship, but the fears outside of the relationship of scarcity of black males, or the fear of something happening to your counterpart, your divine masculine, it can cause you to operate out of fear, and it's unhealthy. And so it could unravel because you may become too clingy or what have you. This is another reason why surrender is so important, because you begin to delve more so into reliance on divine guidance and protection. And that level of powerlessness falls away. This also plays into the law of attraction. So when you surrender for something, it makes it come to you that much quicker. And not that we're trying to rush this process, but the longing that you need a lot of times for your divine masculine is something that needs to be worked out internally. Because the truth of it, of course, is that even a human being, you are unlimited, immortal soul with having a human experience. Okay, so by buying into the illusion of being fear-based and a lot of the things that play out within media, it puts you into a space of lack. And that's what works against relationships from being sustainable, from being able to exist on a higher level and being able to serve a purpose that is on a much higher level. And by getting rid of that and allowing surrender to take place, you'll realize that you'll be more accepting. You'll be more in tune. So you see, surrender is not just about wanting what you want. It is about releasing the attachment you want and letting go of the need to have it now. Anything you truly want has to be released first in order for it to be able to come into your life permanently. Because until you do let go, you will keep operating in a sense of fear of loss, which is not the best that we can be. If you have to surrender this fear of loss to be able to have what you want, it's necessary. So this is where most divine feminines do the opposite. Instead of letting go, they clench on tighter to the divine masculine because they fear that if they let go of that person, they'll be gone for good. In fact, if you are in that dynamic and you decided to separate as the divine feminine, you should be so proud of yourself because you got into a level where, although it may have been painful to let go and walk away, you have realized that you love yourself more than to engage in a dynamic that wasn't working, and the pattern had to be stopped. So by surrendering to self-love, you do the ultimate justice for yourself, right? You really help the process along instead of holding on. And miracles will begin to take place. You'll see that you'll become more fulfilled within yourself, and it's going to materialize within your life. Your health will improve. Your sense of self will improve. Your relationships outside of yourself will improve because you have decided to surrender to the process and truly do the work so that you can truly heal, not only on a spiritual level, but a cellular level. Because when you start operating out of those negative emotions, then that translates over into your physical health, because your health is affected by your emotions, truly. So the best thing you can do during this time is surrender to self-love. Realize that by operating in your true femininity, what needs to come to you will come to you. But first you have to let go. All right, so if this resonates with you, I ask that you please share it. And I thank you so much. Until next time, vibe higher and thrive. I am Mrs. Luv, MD, 1111 Awakening.